Hello there my friends, hope you all are having a fantastic day right now. In this video we shall be solving a really fun problem based on strings using C++. So let's get started. So as you can see right now, I have actually written the problem statement for you guys, and I have written only the important parts because usually these kinds of problems have a lot of unwanted information. This is the information that we actually require for solving this problem. Yep, let's understand what we are to do in this problem. So we will be given a string and a number. So for example, we are given this string I love YouTube and this integer 3. So we have to arrange this string in this pattern shown here. So this pattern is something like this, and we have to arrange the characters of the string something like this, and then we have got to read the characters in a horizontal manner and produce the output. So as you can see, the output should be I, E, T, L, V, Y, U, U, E and O, O, B, just like that. So before we get to the solution part, I encourage you guys to work it out yourself and find your own solution, and if you find a better solution than I have done, then I would be really happy if you put them out in the comment section and let me know. So yep, you can pause the video and try it out. So having understood the problem, we can now go ahead and think about how we can solve this problem. So what I did was I tried to find a direct relation between the output and the input without taking into account the arrangement, because I knew there was something fishy about this arrangement and it was made to confuse us. So I wrote the output clearly like this, and I began numbering the letters one by one. So here we have I in the first place, so I is 1, then L, so this is 2, O is 3, V is 4. So now I have just numbered all the characters in the string to the order in which they appear in the input. So when you look at these characters and the numbers associated with them, you are bound to find a certain pattern associated with them. So first let us keep track of the first 3 numbers, and that is because, well, this is 3, so just a try, and let's see if we can find a pattern. So we first start filling from 1, then we go to 2, then from 2 we go to 3, and from 3 we go back to 4, and we go back to 5, and from 5 we go forward to 6, and from 6 we go forward to 7, and from 7 we go back to 8. So what we are doing in this is that we are filling 3 sets of strings one by one, and when we reach the right end we start oscillating towards the left, and when we reach the left end we start oscillating towards the right. So that's what we are doing, and that's how we can solve this problem. So it's pretty simple, but to think about it in this way was kind of tough for me. So yep, that's that, and that's basically the solution. And now let's go ahead and write the code in C++ to solve this problem. So now that we are in C++, let's start writing the program. So first let's import the required header files. We'll need string, of course, and we'll use the namespaces dd and int main. So first we'll have to accept the input, and we'll be given a string and a number. So int n will be the number, and string str. So c in str, and then we'll accept the number. So once we have got the input, let us actually write a function so that we can pass n and str into that function and solve the problem. Let's create a function which returns a string. So string get string int num and string. So this will return a string, and so once we know what num is, we know how many substrings we need so that we can fill the characters into them one by one. So in order to store the substrings, let's use a string array. So string array and some number like 50. So we'll use a for loop to initialize the members of the array with empty strings, because we'll be starting off with that. So for int I equals 0, I is less than num, I plus plus, array of I equals the empty string. So now we'll have n number of empty strings in the array. So now that we have got the empty strings, we can filling them. So for that, again we will need a for loop to iterate through the characters in the string. So for int j equals 0, j is less than string dot length j plus plus, and string of j will be the character. So now we can put string of j into any one of the strings of the array, and initially we will be putting it into the first string of the array. So array of 0 plus equals string of j, and since this value is going to be changing because we are going to be moving to the right or the left, we will have to store this in a variable. So int index equals 0. So here we'll make this as index, and there's a catch here, and that is that we have to actually determine the direction in which we have to move next. And as we saw in the explanation, if we have filled in the leftmost string, then we have to move towards the right to the first string, the second string, and the nth string. And if we have reached the nth string, then we have to move towards the left. So in order to get the direction, we will have to have another variable called direction, which gives us the direction in which we have to move. So direction is equal to 1, and by 1 I mean right. So once we have filled the first element, then we will have to move in the direction. So index plus equals direction. So initially index will be 0 and direction will be 1. So index will be 0 plus 1, that is 1, until the index is at the nth position. So if the index is at the nth position, then it means that the direction should be towards the left or minus 1. So we'll have an if statement here. So if index equals num minus 1, then direction is equal to minus 1. And we also need to check if the index is 0. So if index equals 0, then direction equals 1. So we have now accounted for the boundaries. So that is it. So doing this will actually fill all the n number of strings in the array, and we'll have to then concatenate these strings and return the result. So there are a couple of changes that we would need to do. So the first one being the usage of this variable, because it's the same as string and we don't want to cause confusions. And then we would actually want to use the length as a function. So that's another thing, that's a mistake, and yep, that's that. And now let's actually create a string variable so that we can return it. So string str, and str is, as I said, the concatenation of all the strings in the array. So we will have to use a for loop for that too. So for int k equals 0, k is less than n, k plus plus, so it's not n but num, and we will need to add the strings to str. So array of k. So that's that. And a little change is that we will have to declare str as an empty string. So now we will just need to return str. That should be it. Let's call this function here. So let's also call this function. So cout get string n and str. So Everything seems perfect. Oh no. So this is not a double equals but a single equals symbol. So make sure that you get that right. So it's running, and let's give the input that we saw in the example. So I love YouTube, and let's give an S3. So IETLBYUUEOOB. So it's the same as this. We were successful in implementing our algorithm. So that's that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, it would help me if you smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Bye for now guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.